Hi, this is Miss Lamb with a video about archetypal criticism. Carl Jung, a disciple of Freud, took psychoanalysis in a different direction. Instead of looking into individual people's heads in order to understand human behavior, he looked at human imagination and shared experience to explain behavior. While Freud viewed the unconscious as a storehouse for repressed desires and emotions, Jung believed that it had a second layer. This one is a deeper, more universal shared memory, common to the whole human race. He called this the collective unconscious. Jung used the Greek word archetype to describe these contents. Our psychic archetypes are recurring patterns of images, symbols, themes, and stories that help us make sense of our lives. According to Jung, wisdom, creativity, and good mental health are present only when we are in harmony with the archetypes and universal symbols found in the collective unconscious. We are able to reveal essential archetypes and symbols in dreams and myths. While dreams are personal manifestations of the individual unconscious, myths are societal manifestations of the collective unconscious. Myths do far more than express ancient forms of religion and primitive science. They use stories to present guidance on proper ways to behave in society and offer insight into the inevitable milestones in life. Since ancient times, people have turned to stories to help them understand and cope with life. Joseph Campbell said, "Myths deal with great human problems. I know what to do when I come to a threshold in my life now. A myth can tell me about it, how to respond to certain crises of disappointment or delight or failure or success. Myths tell me where I am." Perhaps the most interesting aspect of myths is how similar they are across cultures and eras. Although every society has its own stories, there are intriguingly similar patterns with recurring elements, including symbols, motifs, story arcs, and themes that elicit similar responses and meanings. Myths do much of their work at symbolic and metaphoric levels because they deal with issues that transcend logic. Instead, they are dramatic representations of the deep, instinctual life of humankind. For example, the ancient Greeks saw the sun's progress across the sky as Helios, the sun god's daily ride across the sky in a blinding bright chariot. However, the story does more than explain the natural cycle. It expresses our unconscious sense of the way that heroes rise and fall in a similar pattern. Canadian scholar Northrop Frye proposed the idea that the main appeal of literature was or is its connection to primitive story formulas. He claimed that literature is a kind of displaced mythology that constantly reverts to the same patterns that we see in ancient myths. In literature, we can often identify archetypal geographies like a Garden of Eden or a hellish wasteland, character types like heroes and villains, story aspects like journeys or monster slaying, and themes like good versus evil. There are many different ways of classifying archetypal story patterns, but whichever pattern you look at, archetypal criticism gives perspective to our lives. This is adapted from Doing Literary Criticism by Tim Gillespie.